where we talk about ideas that matter. And I'm glad you've made the connection and are with us today. I'm Lori Fitz, your host. And our topic today is imagination. We are going to have a detailed, delightful discussion with two amazing artists that I admire greatly. The art that both create warms my heart and takes me places. Margot Selski has been described as imaginative, breathtaking, surrealist artist. I do too. And she's right. She's absolutely right.
Or the one that wrote that.
And I have her sister here today, Sunny Mueller, who is a design project manager with Nilles Builders. Sunny has joined us before to talk to us about her process in developing designs and how she works with individuals. And I asked Sunny to have her sister come on the show. And I wanted Sunny to come too because it just
I'm back, y'all.
because it's really a conversation about the journey.
Yeah.
It's a journey of the art, and all three of us are going to have a journey in discussing the art.
Known me for what, 50 years?
Since you were
Your
born.
whole life.
Since you were born, right?
Since we were born.
Which is all good. One of the things that Margot has shared about her art is that she has noticed that it evokes strong emotions. Yeah. And it does. The very first time I saw one of your pieces, I was just stunned. It told a story. It brought me in. It made me smile, but it made me wonder. It made me think. And I love the fact that when I've asked you about how do you start a piece, you start with a question. And I'd love to have you tell me a little bit about that process. And then we're going to play a game of describe that art.
What I did is I brought in a pile of images of my paintings, and I thought, yeah, I'm going to have these guys describe what they see on the surface, what they see in the particular piece of artwork. Because, for one thing, it kind of just helps paint a picture for the person that's listening. And it also kind of gives me a springboard or some things to jump off from. And it makes my job as being interviewed a whole lot easier.
Because you're making us do the work. So actually today Margot is the host and I am one of the people that she'll be interviewing about her art.
Honestly, Plus, honestly, I do love playing games.
Yeah.
And,
and your art has a playful.
My artwork is very playful.
Very.
It's kind of like you think you know where you're going because I'll give you a hint of something that you kind of understand. Maybe it's something that you go, oh, is this like Alice in Wonderland? But then it's like, is it Alice in Wonderland? And no, it's not. Because then you look and you're just like, but in Alice in Wonderland, they don't have a girl that has wolf feet. And then
because there's some scary aspects.
And you're saying, but, she has a gown, and on her gown, she's got all these eyes, and they're all crying. That's not in Alice in Wonderland. So then you start to go deeper. And there is also humor in it. So, it's a kind of a dark humor. It's kind of what, some people find some things funny. I find other things funny. I mean, maybe my humor or the things I find funny are kind of dark and
but they all take you to to wherever you want to go. You may have a story and a question in mind, and it may not be what the person sees when they look at it, but you're okay with that. You like that they've gone on a journey with it.
Yeah.
It's very female-centric.
It's very, I do have some characters that seem to be masculine, but they've never had male bodies. They've always been animals. So I think, we might want to talk about that. Maybe, I don't know. Yeah. I just don't understand men. I was never raised. I don't get them.
So to just paint a picture verbally, these are large pieces of oil artists. Very detailed.
Yes.
beautiful animals. We've got almost
Lavish.
Elizabethan collars. Almost looks like something from the Elizabethan
very
queen.
Dutch, very Dutch.
Very Dutch, dark
Old.
light.
Right.
But the colors are vibrant.
Multiple different time periods. So you might have something that seems to be from the Victorian time, but it also has elements of stuff going on right now. It's almost like I got hit on the head with a can of paint as a child, and possibly I had some kind of brain damage, so I can confabulate things.
Or you're a time traveler.
Oh,
And you have gone through different periods of art and have now in this life brought them all together.
Yeah.
And used the best of all of them.
But I find it's really easier for me to take harsh criticism and harsh information when somebody makes it more humorous or easygoing or funny. Then if you can get me to laugh, you can tell me all kinds of things about my character defects and I'll accept them.
And your paintings do that. But your paintings also start sometimes with you being ticked off.
Yes.
They start with I'm
ticked
or something that's going on and I don't know how to deal with it.
So you either
what's going on in society right now, I don't know how to deal with it. I don't know my place in it. I don't know if I should say something or not say something, what I should do or if I should keep quiet, and where my place is in it. And I don't want to be,
I have to say, though, your women, the women that are in your painting all seem strong to me. They all seem like they've got they've got their ideas together.
Yeah, and they're confronting. Some are looking at you. They're like in a three-quarter pose, the traditional painting, kind of at a slight angle, and their eyes are like looking at the viewer. But the one at the State Fair is looking away.
Yeah, I was going to say that. Or they're looking. I'd love to talk about the State Fair.
Looking toward the future, or looking away, or But she's assured.
She is so assured. This is a strong African American woman.
Yes,
she has both a look of strength, but also a look of peace.
Yes, it was done right before the pandemic started, and I took a lot of walks in nature, and I was just like wanting to bring the garden into my home. There was some quote I heard one time. It was like something like, "Why wait for somebody to bring you flowers? Create your own garden and nurture your own soul." And so I thought, okay, that's what I'm going to do.
You have a piece. If you go to MargotSelskyArtist.com, you can listen to her overview of having this piece go to the State Fair.
Oh, yeah.
And you talk about going to Sleepy Hollow.
Yep.
And having the experience of nature during this time when there's so much isolation, but you found a lot of hope. You found a lot of beauty. You found a lot of connectedness.
It was kind of strange that nature was taking over and people were, it's like the animals were coming out. I live in downtown St. Paul over by the Union Depot, and there was a black bear that decided to walk down the street right in front of the Union Depot.
Really?
Yeah. And it was like, and deer started coming in where the railroad usually runs. And I was just like, nature was kind of happening. And so I would just take these solitary walks and a Sleepy Hollow. It's strange as it sounds like a really quiet place. It's on Payne Avenue.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. It's the East Side. I love the East Side. And there's a lot of wonderful artists up in the East Side as well that do incredible work. And I love Sleepy Hollow.
Oh, yeah.
It is a strange and mysterious place, but it's a place where a lot of immigrants came. When they first came to Minnesota.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. A lot of Swedish folks. There's Swedes Hollow that's near Sleepy Hollow.
Huh.
Yeah. Yeah. So it is a place I think that we get called to. And there was something that you were called. And this painting that I love that's going to be at the State Fair has this beautiful woman, and she's just has a bounty of flowers in her arms. And she's sort of holding them, but she's sort of sitting there too with her arms folded.
She doesn't even really have an upper body.
Yeah, it's sort
There's
of
no
all
body.
flora. It is, but you sort of think you kind of make it. whether or not it's there.
There's a head, and
Yes.
then there's a waist. So there's got to be something.
And there's
going
roses in there, so you assume there's something else going on. But maybe not. Maybe it's just all flowers.
Yeah.
For me, I imagined. Again, then that's part of how you do your art,
Yes.
where you create something and we fill in the rest. Now, there's this amazing rabbit. I mean, this is like a very large rabbit. His hands,
His paws aren't even a real rabbit.
Yeah, but they have kind of a claw-like.
What's funny is somebody said, "Oh, it's so realistic," and I said, "Yes, because rabbits walk around with loafers on."
The loafers are adorable. They are. Now, a lot of your rabbits have shoes.
Yes,
Is there something about
love
rabbits
that.
and shoes?
most of my rabbits are men, and like
That's why they have the creepy eyes now.
And that was from her sister.
Yes,
Sunny.
sorry.
yes, yeah.
No layers of meaning there, Sunny?
There are some times that I am just the right amount of crazy, and so when I'm talking to someone maybe that I'm interested in, they seem to have their eyes get a little nervous looking
Rabbity.
Oh,
because they're not quite sure what to do about
Do you
this.
do you like shoes? Do you pay attention to their shoes?
I do like shoes, yes, and I do pay attention, and it's just it's qualities that the socks were something that my son had been wearing, and I seem to take them.
I love how
and
all
keep
the
them
rabbits
and use
have
them.
amazing shoes, delightful socks, and the overall. I mean, you look at this, and there's a part of you when you start to look at it that is, it has a passionate, hopeful quality in this beautiful woman who has both peace and hope. And acceptance, and there seems to be almost an acceptance of this difficult time, and an embracing of the nature during this time that's celebratory. Then you've got this weird rabbit that does have wild eyes.
yeah. and it's kind of scrawny. It's kind of scraggly looking.
It's not
She's
a
got
rabbit.
rabbits that are beautiful. This one just looks kind of beat up.
Yeah,
ratty.
This rabbit
What'd you do with this rabbit
has
here,
seen
Margot?
many difficult days. I
Yes,
can
that
see.
rabbit had seen many different.
Okay. Margot's looking at me like, you can be quiet now.
No, this is, yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, and when I was taking walks in the woods, there were rabbits that were, getting up on their hind legs, and they would nibble the bark off the trees. And after a while, I decided after they weren't around, I walked up to the tree. They're like killing these trees, man.
Little baby rabbits.
Well, they would eat the bark.
Tiny rabbits killing the tree.
They would eat the bark all the way around, which kills the tree, right? If the
yeah,
bark goes
sure.
all the way around, and they
had a mission.
because it's like
It's not Dutch elms. It's rabbits.
We're as good as a beaver.
but the nutrients kind of go through
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
bark, and if it stops, it stops. It kind of cuts down the
it's-
tree, and it kind of reminded me of this person that kind of nibbled his way around the bark.
and isn't always supportive.
And it isn't always supportive.
There. Oh.
Now, is there a honeycomb that she's within as well?
Yes, that's her dress.
Her dress is this extremely elaborate honeycomb that I created. And all these bees are, and it's strange because, and then I have all these drips of the honey, and it's just excessive. And so, I really like to do repetitive things to my work. So you could have thousands and thousands of bees, or, it just goes on. And people are amazed at how much detail. And they sometimes will wonder, well, how did you do that? Did you use a stamp and put, I'm like, no. Or they'll do the hair. Did you have a special brush that you put in a bunch of hair? And I'm like, that's one brush stroke at a time.
Amazing.
And you just have to build.
Well, I think it's the perfect picture for the State Fair. One of my favorite exhibits is the honey exhibit. So I hope that folks will take that into account and go taste honey as well. But no, I believe that it really captures the spirit of the last year.
Yeah, and my model,
and a hope for next.
My model, her name is Keandra, and we've known each other for quite a long time, and she and I kind of talk and collaborate. She's like has her thing going on in TikTok, and so I have a lot of different models. Sometimes I have Theo, who's very androgynous, and sometimes he's as my women. And I have Jade Monkey, who is Theo's roommate, and sometimes she models for me, and sometimes her face morphs into somebody else's face, sometimes my daughter. Sometimes it's just like magicked out of thin air. These characters and these people are ways in which I can understand something and have a conversation. It's not necessarily a portrait about a particular person.
It's about a question.
It's about a question. It's about a feeling. It's about feeling empowered. That one is about being empowered.
And the journey of the empowerment. Well, with that, we're going to take a break. But when we come back, I want to learn more about your process. You started to talk about it with it's just one brush stroke. It's not any fancy brushes, but I'd like to know more about your process because this painting, in some ways, as you say, looks like something that you could go to see a Dutch painter or a Renaissance painter, and then all of a sudden you see that it's a modern version of what they in a more surreal way. So we'll talk more about that process and about your art itself. And you're listening to Connections Radio Show here on AM 950, the progressive voice of Minnesota. Welcome back to Connections Radio Show, where we talk about ideas that matter. I'm Lori Fitz, your host, and our topic today is on imagination and exploring art. And I have two amazing artists, Margot Selsky and her sister, Sunny Mueller. Margot is an incredible surrealist artist. She's been described as imaginative and breathtaking, and I think that's a very apt description. And they're large pieces, aren't they, Margot?
They are like 4 foot by 6 foot, sometimes 6 foot by 8 foot. But I also do small paintings as well. But yeah.
And Sunny is a design project manager for Nillis Builders. And you have some of this art in your home.
Yes, I do.
You get to...
A lot of it is lovely.
It's like the library. It's to my house.
It's the gallery.
It's the Margot Selsky Gallery.
Yes. It is. And with that, I'd love to have you start with one of the pieces that you like and describe it for us.
Oh my gosh. So this piece is in my kitchen. It is huge. It fills up a whole entire wall all by itself. And it is a very large pink flamingo with a girl who is fishing with its leg in a pond. So she's fishing, and the fish is caught on the hook, and you can see it. She's kind of pulling it up. But for me, I like to go with the stories, and I make my own story up all the time. And this one is that she's teasing with the fish. The fish, is she going to really catch it, or is she going to let it go? And she's like dipping it back in the water. She's got this kind of attitude expression on her face too, where it's like, I really don't care, you fish,
So what about the flamingo? What's the flamingo's role in all this?
Oh my gosh.
Is he just sort of this tolerant flamingo
well,
that's letting
not.
you... No.
This is not a tolerant bird at all. This bird has...
Let's just say that, a lot of times the animals are male. So what do you take from this?
Oh, gosh.
I love putting
so
my sister
controlling. Oh, my gosh. I'm sorry.
I know, right?
This is only my take, and I'm just like... tomorrow it'll be a whole different story.
Which is important.
That's what happens.
I love stories.
Life changes.
And stories should change, too. So what about this flamingo? Okay,
well,
so the flamingo is...
It is hovering over her shoulder, and it's got this yellow eye, and it's just kind of... it's very serious. Oh,
and
my
questioning
gosh.
reality?
Yeah.
And why its leg is being used to fish?
Well, I think it's fine with that.
Yeah, it is fine with that.
Wow. Okay.
So Margaret,
that's what conversations are about sometimes. You're having a conversation with somebody and you're trying to make a connection and you're trying to interact and you're so different and you're trying to figure it out. And sometimes, it works and sometimes it doesn't work. And in that painting, the conversation is actually working, but in a very strange way with two very diverse personalities that are coming together and interacting. So,
well, if you go to MargotSelskyArtist.com, you can see Margot's statement, and I'm going to read part of it.
Sure.
I am a figurative surrealist oil painter, interested in an imaginary world that is nuanced, sly, quirky, dark, uncanny, and fabular. I use a theatrical cast of characters, queens, young girls, flora and fauna, predator and prey, to play out aspects of my memories, persona, and concerns, bringing a sense of stability through a variety of real and mythic scenarios. I examine the tension between opposites in both the substantive and the thematic territory and my work in its formal aspects. I'm interested in the balance between old and new, comfortable and uncomfortable, safe and unsafe, discretion and confession. Although my work appears mannered and removed, it is in fact autobiographical in nature.
Yes. It
In
is about
nature.
me. In
I like-
nature. We don't want to, tie myself into something completely.
No.
To give myself some room to escape.
Yeah. So
Just in case.
So these pieces allow you to explore a question and go to within your imagination and your process as an artist. When you have that question or idea or you have an image, what do you do?
What do? I do a lot of feeling. And usually when I'm thinking about things, I will I make up stories in my head. You would think that I need more. Talk to me.
Okay. All right. So we're gonna go with
I will not have a whole painting figured out.
Uh-huh.
I might have just a little piece of it that I understand.
Yeah, then you call me and annoy me because you're trying to work it out.
Yes,
over
and
the
I'm
phone.
trying to work it out, like what is going on, what is the best direction to happen. Like I started this painting that I just got done with, and I knew it was going to be this girl that was holding this white rabbit, but I didn't know who she was and what she was going to be, and she ended up being part wolf. She's not fully female. She's got a female head, but then she also has this hair that I kind of feel like I call it anvil hair because
I love
it like
that hair, though.
It goes way out on the sides. It's almost like she's wearing a table on her head.
Yeah.
Curly table. And then
But there is a lot of female energy in wolves. I mean, they
Right.
work together.
Right.
There's a sense of community.
But then I feel like, okay, I am this strong, powerful person, but there's this wolf type of creature that I am as well. And, it's like...
the predatory prey.
And I cover it with a big skirt,
Yeah.
so people, some people will hide their feelings underneath looking like they know what they're doing. Sometimes I'll look like I really have it all together, and I'm falling apart inside.
Is that the skirt?
Oh, yeah. And
The
it is
presentation.
yeah. So I cover and cover and cover. It's like the big collar or the,
But then the animals that appear are some of the other things going on.
some of the other things going on. Or the wolf feet underneath the skirt. It's like, you're a female, but then your skirt flies up and somebody notices, oops, your hairy legs.
Yeah.
Because how long
She's a
has it been
wolf.
since we've gone out of our home?
We're in Minnesota.
right. So do you see that your art has changed over the years?
My art has changed over the years. I was traditionally trained, and then I went to graduate school as well. And I've always, during graduate school, I was interested in more abstractions and beeswax and what I could do with beeswax and surface. I was really interested in how the surface worked. So I began to try to figure out how to crack things, but crack things that didn't damage the artwork. So I would so my earlier paintings, I would have the initial oil painting. I would spread on beeswax and take a blow dryer and blow dry it to a smooth sheen.
Wow.
And then I would take dental tools and I would scratch into the surface these tiny little cracks, almost like someone would, analogous to someone who makes quilts and would be sewing.
Teeny,
teeny, stitches. I would be scratching in these cracks, in these faux cracks. Then I would take my oil paint and I would spread it over the painting and push it into the cracks, wipe it away, and when it was dry, I would blow dry away the beeswax.
And what was
left with these fine detailed lines. And I'm not talking just big lines. I mean, it was so teeny tiny, intricate.
But I bet it gave
texture.
It was
a lot, yeah. And then I started playing around with. I make my own oil paint, so because I like to make my particular colors, and I like to get my minerals from different places and my materials from different places. So, and really, oil paint. What is it? It's like the pigment that might be raw umber, which is like crushed up stone, mixed with linseed oil, which is flaxseed.
Huh. So
it's just purified flaxseed oil. It's not really bad for you, and you can mix that up, and then you make. It takes a long time to make the oil paint.
So what strikes me is it's so organic. It
is.
Your art is every part of it. It's not just the picture; it's the actual creation of the paint.
I like being completely invested
the colors
in everything
yours.
About the painting. Yeah.
So cool. And it makes it even more vibrant when I see that you have created the very paint that brings the figures to life.
I know.
Need to take a break because, of course, I've been running over in all of the segments because I've enjoyed our conversation so much. So we have to take a break. You are listening to AM 950, the progressive voice of Minnesota. Check out MargotSelskyArtist.com. Fabulous art. All of her work a lot of her work is there, a lot of her ideas and thoughts. And she also has a nice commentary about a piece that's going to be at the State Fair that we all need to
blog. Yeah,
need to go see it. So we'll be right back after just a few commercials, and we'll continue our conversation in this imaginative art.
Saturday night, clear with a low around 57.
AM 950 KTNF, St. Louis Park, Minneapolis, St. Paul.
For those of you, this is probably going to replay. But I got to say something. We've got a surreal artist. And, of course, we have surreal commercials. What the heck was that? I can't go without at least mentioning that we've had a weird figurative surreal moment with our audio. But we're back. And you're listening to
And we promise not to speak in slow-mo.
we promise we won't be in slow-mo. This is Lori Fitz, your host on this journey into the surreal that we are totally embracing. And I have two wonderful imaginative artists with me today. Margot Selsky is the focus of our discussion and her amazing art that you can see at the State Fair. Summer Goddess is an oil which is 6 feet by 4 feet. Tell me where it is at the State Fair.
I have no idea where they put it. On the wall somewhere.
It'll be on a wall. So it's search and find.
But it's so big.
But,
you won't miss it.
State Fair is so much fun because it's a way that all of us artists can come together, and we're coming together on Tuesday to see who's still alive.
Good. That is
Yeah.
always a good sign.
Who's still making art,
Yep.
what we're doing, and we all kind of have this really good party.
And we can come.
And you
We're-
guys can come,
We are
too.
friends and family. This
Friends
is a
and
friends and
family.
family. So
And
AM
then
950
for
can be
interest-
considered
Yes.
friends and family. Say that you're a friend of Margot, and they're going to be
Yes.
like, we'll have lots of people that'll just say, I'm
Right.
friend of Margot Selsky. I want to
Tuesday
see
night.
Tuesday night, the August 24th.
Right.
Tell them that you want to see the Summer Goddess painting.
Yep.
And you're here. Where would they go to get into the State Fair? Do you know
Okay,
that?
you go through the front gates.
Front gate,
And
good.
then you take a right. And you go all the way down till you'll see a lot of cars parked, and there you go.
It is worth the journey to go to the State Fair early to see this piece.
Yeah.
This piece is worth taking in. And if folks are interested in buying.
Plus, you know what?
What?
It's a time. I mean, this is a push for all the artists that are in the show. It's a time for people to go in and see the actual artwork, but a lot of different styles, a lot of different people, at a lot of different price ranges to make some choices instead of having
And
to
meet
hire
the
a
artists,
designer like
too.
my sister Sunny, who's here.
Yep.
To help pick out your artwork, you can actually go and visually shop a lot of work and make some more informed choices for
Are
yourself.
the pieces for sale?
All the pieces are for sale. There are a lot of artists that are showing at State Fair, and their pieces are for sale. And what they do is there's a counter you can go to, and the person has the little cards and can tell you what's for sale, how much the pieces are worth. And if anything, I also have pieces and prints on my website, margotselskyartist.com.
It is worth going to her website just to see the various adventures of each
Right.
piece. You will be,
And I'm getting
I
better
promise
at
you.
blogging. So
Good.
I will continue to tell those stories, so it constantly is changing.
With that, Sunny did a wonderful story for us in the last segment with a
I did.
flamingo.
Yes.
A flamingo that was used for fishing purposes.
He was used for fishing.
purposes. And in this segment, we're looking at a flying chicken woman, and it's called Maiden Voyage.
yeah.
Tell me about the chicken woman.
Oh my gosh. This chicken woman, the only part of the chicken woman that is woman is her head. The whole other
Well,
part
the neck,
of her
you
is
can because she's got kind of a
yeah.
Elizabethan sort of collar
Yes.
thing going, so you can
Yeah.
imagine there's a neck there.
and an aviator cap on with goggles.
I love that. I love
So
that.
it's like,
and
wow,
I
what
have
happened there?
chickens, so I'm going to start looking at my
You
chickens.
got to dress for
Yes.
the part. If you're going to
Yes.
learn how to fly, you might
Yes.
as well,
and
dress for the part.
Chickens can only fly so far.
Well,
which
and
is
you know,
interesting.
that's a good point because
training.
this one's on a wire. And so even though it probably, I'm guessing, wouldn't be able to fly without being on the wire. It's on it's like on a cable wire, like if you were going skiing or something. And what is
It's-
the story with the
it's-
crown? She's
it's-
got a crown over the top
right.
of the chicken
but it's
lady's
kind
head.
of hovering. It's hovering. It's not really
hovering. It's like
Oh.
a symbol of something.
Okay.
A symbol of, being special, being a queen.
Oh.
Well, I see
okay.
the chicken as sort of going on a special ride.
Or maybe it's like going
yeah, it
to
is going on a special
Yeah,
ride.
going on a special
it's
ride.
got its own little because chickens can and I have chickens that will fly up
It's-
into the trees.
Sometimes I imagine this large pulley system.
Yes,
and you
it
could
does look
just
like a pulley
train a
system.
chicken how to fly, and so she could get over her fear. And if you've got these toys below, and I've got the whole city of St. Paul, and maybe if she practices here in Minnesota to get over her fear of being in front of the public or flying over the small
or
houses,
being
then flying
told
over
that she
trees.
can't fly.
I know. If she gets used to it
yeah.
and she gets stronger and stronger, then maybe she'll be able to actually fly. Maybe she can actually fly over New York.
Wouldn't that be great?
I like
that be
this
great
picture a
for
lot
LA?
more now that she said that.
Well, I also like that it almost seems like it's a scene set as well that
It
she's
is a
flying
scene
over.
set.
It is.
It's
These-
not
these
a
are-
real
There's St.
city.
Paul, but there's several great big scene.
They're cutouts.
Yeah, paper doll, pasteboard cutouts.
Yeah.
It's very imaginative. It's worth going to the website just to look at the maiden voyage of the chicken lady that's flying on a pulley.
Yeah.
And your imagination is wild and wonderful. And have you always had this amazing, delightful imagination?
I have always had a
Yes, she
strange
has.
imagination. I remember one of the I was remembering one of these times that we lived in a trailer court, and I had wanted a lot of these Skipper Barbie dolls. I didn't really want the Barbies because I wasn't really interested.
No, the
in
Skippers
boobs.
were cute. Skippers had long hair.
Skippers were great.
Yeah,
you know, they were
had-
kind of
I got a
flat. They were
Skipper.
cute.
Yeah,
they did
flat.
but
Sort of
I wanted
androgynous.
some, but
Yeah.
I didn't have any good Skipper dolls. I didn't have really that many. I had like one, so I wanted to get some more. So I went to the
And
dumpster
I think
and
Skipper's her little sister, is
yeah,
it?
and I pulled out some Barbies, and then I decided that I'd grow my own. So I decided in the fall to dig up by this post. I decided to plant some Barbies, and so I would turn
Bringing
them. I
the
did 'em-
garden into your home.
yeah, I turned the Barbies upside down, head down,
Ooh,
and I went
the
ahead
root.
so their feet would stick up in the air because I assumed that in the spring these Skippers would grow off their legs, right? And so the big Barbie, I didn't know
I love
how
it. No,
babies
no, no,
would.
no.
Yeah.
No, I love it.
It
I
just
love
made sense to me that they would
yes.
grow off the legs of these Barbie dolls.
Well, if you look at flowers and their vines, you
Yeah.
know, you could have vined out a Skipper.
and it was wonderful. 'cause
Like a cucumber.
All winter, I look out and
and look-
I'd see
and-
those little
Oh.
legs,
Ready
those little legs
ready
sticking
for
up.
Skipper.
You know, and that garden was just as wide as our
It was small.
This small
the
table.
end of our trailer, and
You never
you know,
noticed Barbie legs?
No, because I was busy tethering frogs because I wanted a pet. Tethering frogs out there.
Your art is suddenly making a lot more sense.
We were very interesting kids, but in the spring I didn't get Barbies, and I was very upset about it. But I knew that I hadn't watered them either.
Oh,
so
I'm
was that one of maybe
sorry.
the original traumas?
Yeah,
Oh man,
Skipper just did not do what she. What it wasn't Skipper. It was Barbie that you planted.
I did.
Yeah,
I
and
planted
Malibu
several.
Barbie was not going to do it for you.
No.
But
man,
Barbie has
bummer.
come to life in her own way. There's a sense of Barbie in some of these female characters.
Yeah, they're aloof.
Yeah.
No, lacking some expression. It's like you see it as more of a symbolic rather than an actual person.
or a mask of
A
sorts.
mask. Yes.
And Barbie has a mask. You can read a lot into Barbie, and like these women that you feature, there's a lot that can be read into, a lot of story.
Yeah.
Of course, I've run over again. So we're going to need to take a break. I blame the weird commercial that took way too long
Yeah.
as a part of why we ran over it this time. But we will come back, and we're going to talk about if folks want to buy your art, how do they do that and all that good stuff.
yeah,
So we'll talk about that in the next segment. Stay with us. And don't forget to go to the State Fair and see The Summer Goddess by Margot Selsky. It is it's transformative. There's something very beautiful, and it's a way of healing and a way of looking to the future. I
Bringing
think
the
in a
garden
very,
into your home.
Bringing-
Nurture your soul.
absolutely. And don't plant Barbies upside down. It doesn't work. It just doesn't work. But this will. All right, we'll be right back. Thanks for being with us, and we'll join you in just a moment.
What the hell are you doing with the frog?
I'm here on Connections Radio Show talking about imagination and art, and I have amazing artists with me today. Sunny Mueller is a design project manager at Nellis Builders, and when we had our conversation, it was right after I said, Margot, your sister Margot, I love her art. Can we persuade Margot to come on? And so Sunny has persuaded Margot Selsky to join us today. We've been talking about her imaginative, delightful art. She is a figurative surrealist creating oil paintings from her imagination. And her imagination is wild and wonderful.
Thanks, Lord.
Please go see her art at the State Fair. Summer Goddess. It's an oil on linen. It's 6 feet by 4 feet. And we're assuming it's probably in the Minnesota Arts Building.
It is.
Good.
It's in the Minnesota
Good.
Arts Building.
So we go to the Minnesota Arts Building, and we're also invited because all friends and family
Yes,
and
Tuesday.
AM 950
Yes, it
Connections
is.
Radio Show are all friends, Margot friends.
Yay!
So just say
Yes.
either AM 950 or Margot, and come see her art. it will astonish you. It is art. The oil is alive and vivid, and we found out in the last segment that she actually creates her own painting, her own. The
And
oils
it's
are
nice
hers.
to be able to show here in Minnesota because I so rarely get the opportunity. I usually show in New York. I show
Well, you're in California for how many years?
Hollywood.
Yeah.
For a long time. I've got show coming up in Paris. I have another show that starts I think it's in Illinois, Springfield Museum of Art, and then travels to 4 museums. So I don't usually get to be here and show my artwork. So
When you go to Margot
I'm excited
Selsky
to be here.
Artist, MargotSelskyArtist.com, go to that website. Go see some of the places that she has had her art and who's bought your painting.
Bought your
yeah.
stuff.
Oh, come on.
Well,
the
name,
future,
Oh, my
name.
gosh.
Oh, come on. The future king and queen of England have your piece.
Yeah,
I mean,
they got it at their house in England.
Isn't that
in
wild?
their daughter's room. Yeah,
yeah,
it's
and
craziness.
Lady Gaga,
Yeah,
she's got your
got a
art.
piece. Ellen,
Ellen DeGeneres,
Yeah.
she's got a piece.
she bought one for her.
Yeah.
her
So
partner.
there are many individuals that are your patrons and are fans. If someone wants to buy your art, we have a couple minutes. We have less than 2 minutes.
Yeah,
But tell
right
me
now
about that.
the galleries. I'm not in galleries right now. I'm
Mm-hmm.
like in between because I have a lot of shows I'm working on, museum shows I'm trying to work on, and so you can go to my website and you'll go to the galleries and you will look at particular pieces. I also sell prints of paintings, but you can download the prices and think about it,
and then give you a call because the
there you
phone
go.
number's on. It's Margot and
You can call me.
MargoSelski artist.com. And if someone's interested in commissioning, you'll consider
I
commissions.
do a few
Occasionally.
commissions a year, about 3 commissions a year, because it's a little more complicated. But yeah, I do.
Margot, Sunny, thank you for giving us an imaginative hour of looking at your art, sharing from your heart, sharing from your history, from growing up, all of it. It's just a real treasure to have you both.
Thank you.
And we look forward to having you join us next week here on Connections Radio Show on AM 950, the progressive voice of Minnesota. Have a great week and make the connection.